Yeah, my connection with others have usually given me the guidance to have a direction, to know something's right. It's almost like if you, and even though I was very inward as a person, very independent, you hear things everywhere you go. You hear people talking to other people, and it's very effective to hear somebody telling something to somebody else, and you're picking up a cue about the world. I was picking up my senses of, my strings with other people that way, where I was way too shy to actually develop them. I was unsocialized. I was like a common nerd where I knew electronics and talked electronics with my electronics friends, but the normal people are talking a language that I don't know. I don't know how to make this small talk of the day. I certainly had a lot of good input when I was young. I discovered books and magazines. I was a good book reader in school and articles. And when I got interested, when I had an interest in electronics, anything, be it get a ham radio license, my father was an electrical engineer, and he would help me, but he didn't push me. He was there to work with me as a partner. I had a brother and a sister, and they didn't turn into engineers. He didn't make us be engineers, but I wanted to do science fair projects involving electronics, and he was there to, but I don't know how this works. He would teach me how a little relay can make a decision, about a group of switches, be equivalent to a group of switches. Oh, all right, I can build this project for the atomic structure out of relays, and he helped me build long projects that took a long time to build. So when you do that, when you're in elementary school and you're building projects that take dozens or even hundreds of hours, with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different parts for a computer that plays tic-tac-toe, for example, you get the experience in life to work on long projects. But the main mentor was my dad. Later on in school, I was very lucky that one teacher saw that I was too brilliant for his electronics class, and he arranged for me to program computers at a local company. And I went down there, and an engineer would work with me and tell me how to feed them in and all the steps, and I had a programming manual and wrote my first programs. And so it was lucky that a company was willing to allow a young high school student to come in, supervised by an engineer, and use their computer. We didn't have computers in high school. So that was kind of a collaboration of business and education that you rarely find. Plus, the teacher was really smart enough to try to get those connections to get students outside of school when the school wasn't enough for their own interests. And obviously, we come up through Apple. I wouldn't have done, I worked on project after project after project, and largely it was with Steve Jobs and just my own self wanting to seeing a Pong game in a bowling alley, wanting to build one. Steve Jobs getting a job at Atari, and then we got to design Breakout, and then Steve and I saw this ARPANET, a terminal, talking on the ARPANET. Oh my God, I have to have it. Well, I had no money. Steve had no money. When you have no money, no savings account, no rich relatives, nobody could loan you money, you've got to go home and build it out of parts that are basically free. You've just got to find a way to do it. So really my education, my evolving along technical designs was enhanced because I'm just doing it with one close friend maybe, or somebody to show off to. But in the end, when I have it, I can show it off to the world. And I was collaborating with the world in a sense because that was my motivation. This project I'm working on is me. I've got to make it so special and think of things that other humans wouldn't even think of. I put myself through games and none of it had any dollar value. It was just they were all fun or interesting or amazing. And I wanted a computer in my life someday. So the Homebrew Computer Club was the biggest collaboration of all. 500 people talking about how we were going to change society and have instant communication, leave a message, and 100 people could read it off of another computer, over modems. And people were talking about education where a student gets some questions, types in answers, and then gets told if they're right or wrong instantly. So their mind learns it much quicker than having to come back to school and find out if they're right or wrong. And we're talking about so many incredible things these computers were going to do. It grabbed me. I was too shy to raise my hand and talk. But boy, did I listen and pick up this instinct for we're on top of a revolution. And my part was technical skills.